Hello everyone, welcome back to my B&B Today spoiler channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Dylan's position at Forrester Creations had been unraveling for weeks. Electra Forrester made no secret of her distrust, and every encounter between the two women left Dylan a little more exposed. What had started as personal friction was quietly becoming a threat to her livelihood, and losing that job wasn't a small thing. She had talent and ambition, but a few extra shifts at the bikini bar wouldn't come close to covering what a steady paycheck did. What she needed was someone willing to take a real chance on her. The breaking point came after another tense run-in at Forrester. "I can't keep fighting everyone just to prove I deserve to be here," Dylan admitted, trying and failing to hide how much it had gotten to her. Will heard more in that sentence than she'd said out loud. This wasn't only about Electra, it was the constant suspicion, the whispers, the fear that one more confrontation could cost her everything. "You shouldn't have to prove your worth every single day," he told her. "Maybe you're just in the wrong place." She looked at him carefully. "And where exactly am I supposed to go?" He didn't have an answer yet. But the idea had already started to take shape. An idea takes root. Logan Fashion House was the obvious answer, and once it occurred to Will, he couldn't let it go. His father, Bill Spencer, had the money and the motive. Logan was trying to establish itself as a real rival to Forrester Creations, and the company needed fresh energy and a younger audience. Dylan, with her artistic eye and outsider's perspective, might be exactly the kind of talent that could give Logan an identity of its own instead of just chasing Forrester's shadow. Convincing his father would be one hurdle. Convincing his mother would be another matter entirely. Katie had never trusted Dylan's fascination with the Spencer family, and Will knew she'd question whether this was a business decision or an emotional one. He couldn't shake the look on Dylan's face when she admitted she might lose her job. That settled it. Neither of them noticed, yet, that Electra's campaign against Dylan was quietly building the very rival Forrester Creations didn't want. The pitch to Bill. Will laid out his case in his father's office. Bill listened patiently, until Dylan's name came up. "You're asking me to hire her because you think she belongs here," Bill said. "Or because you think she belongs with you?" The question landed harder than Will expected. He insisted Dylan had real talent, that her background could give Logan a genuinely different creative direction, something distinct from Forrester rather than an imitation of it. Bill, despite himself, was interested. Not because he trusted Dylan, and not because he approved of whatever was happening between her and his son, but because he recognized an opportunity. If Forrester was vulnerable, Logan needed to capitalize on it. "What exactly would you want her to do?" Bill finally asked. "Give her a chance to create something," Will said, without hesitating. Bill understood the business well enough to know Logan didn't need a copy of Forrester. It needed its own identity. Dylan might be able to provide exactly that. Katie's refusal. Telling his mother went nowhere near as smoothly. "Absolutely not," Katie said, before Will had even finished explaining. "You didn't even let me. I don't need an explanation. I know exactly what this is." Will argued that Dylan deserved a shot regardless of anything personal between them. Katie reminded him that Logan was a business, not a rescue center, a comment that stung, because Will didn't see Dylan as someone who needed rescuing. He saw someone who'd been backed into a corner. "She has talent," he said. "So do hundreds of people," Katie answered. "That doesn't mean we put them in the middle of Logan's future." It wasn't really about Dylan's abilities, Will realized. It was about trust. Katie didn't trust Dylan's fixation on the Spencer family, and she didn't want her son making business decisions with his heart instead of his head. When she warned him that mixing romance and business could destroy both, Will answered quietly. "Maybe I'm not confused about what I want." That single sentence worried Katie more than anything else he'd said. If Will was finally choosing Dylan, Electra was about to become his past, and Electra wasn't going to take that quietly. Word reached Electra fast. Her reaction was immediate. "You're seriously trying to put her at Logan?" I'm trying to make sure she has a future, Will said, refusing to back down. No, you're trying to make her impossible to get rid of. Will reminded her that she was the one who'd pushed Dylan away and threatened her position in the first place. Electra shot back that Dylan had created her own problems, and just like that, the argument stopped being about work at all. It was about Will. Every time she went after Dylan, Electra realized she pushed him closer to her, and if he chose Dylan now, Electra wouldn't just lose an argument. She'd lose him. Dylan had no idea how far Will was willing to go for her, and when he told her Logan might actually be interested, she could hardly believe it. You talked to your father? He nodded. And your mother? A pause told her everything. She doesn't agree. Dylan looked away. I knew it. Will stepped closer. This isn't about whether my family likes you. It's about whether you're good enough. And what if I fail? Then you fail trying, he said. But you don't let them decide your future for you. It gave her the courage to move forward, and it set something dangerous in motion. If Dylan joined Logan, Forrester Creations would see it as an act of war, and Rich Forrester wasn't the type to ignore a former employee turning into direct competition. The old Spencer Forrester rivalry was about to get personal again, and each person watching it unfold saw something different. Bill saw opportunity, Katie saw emotional danger, Electra saw a threat, Dylan saw her last real chance, and Will saw a future where he no longer had to choose between what his family expected and what he actually wanted. Before anything could be finalized, Electra made one more attempt to stop it. You're making a mistake, she told Will. I've heard that before. This isn't about her job, she said. It's about you. He turned to face her fully. And what exactly are you saying? She struggled to get the truth out, that she still cared about him, still wanted him, and that every time she pushed him away she only watched Dylan become more important. I don't want to lose you, she finally admitted. Will said nothing, but his silence told her everything she needed to know. The problem was no longer whether he cared about her. It was that he cared about Dylan more. Electra walked away before he could say another word, but the damage was already done. Logan offered Dylan a modest opening, not a full position, just a chance to present her ideas. For her it was enough. She arrived carrying her portfolio, nervous but determined, and Bill didn't make it easy on her. He challenged every idea, pushed her to explain what made her different. I don't want to replace Forrester, she told him. I want to build something that doesn't look like Forrester. That answer got his attention. Across the room, Will watched a version of Dylan he hadn't seen before, not someone waiting to be rescued, but someone building her own future. If you come here, Bill told her, you come here because you can compete. Not because my son asked me to. She agreed without hesitation. Later, Katie confronted Bill privately. This is going to create problems. Problems already exist, Bill said. Forrester and Logan are already competing. Dylan makes it personal. Maybe that's because our son already made it personal. Katie had to sit with an uncomfortable truth. Will wasn't just Bill Spencer's son anymore. He was becoming a man capable of making his own decisions, even the ones that upset his family. Rumors of Dylan meeting with the Spencer family reached Forrester Creations fast, and by the time they got to Electra, she was furious. So it's true, she said, cornering Dylan. You're going to Logan. I don't know yet. Electra accused her of trying to steal everything out from under her. Dylan finally lost her patience. You've been trying to get me fired for weeks. Now you're angry because someone else is willing to give me a chance. Electra had no answer, because Dylan was right, and that made it worse. Dylan walked away, leaving Electra behind to face the fact that her own campaign against Dylan may have created the exact rival she'd feared. That night, Bill called Will with one final condition. If Dylan came to Logan, Will was to stay out of the business side entirely. Will agreed, though both of them knew that promise might not survive contact with his feelings. Later that evening, he told Dylan there'd be a meeting the next day. Does that mean I'm getting the job? It means you finally get the chance to fight for it yourself. Neither of them knew yet how much that meeting was about to set in motion. As the night wound down, Will got a text from Electra, 4 words, "We need to talk." He knew that conversation couldn't be put off much longer, and somewhere underneath it, he already understood that after tomorrow, nothing between the three of them would be the same. Dylan arrived at Logan early the next morning, portfolio held tight against her chest, having spent most of the night wondering if she deserved any of this. Will found her before the meeting. "You ready?" "No." He smiled. "Good. That means you care. What if they say no? Then you walk out knowing you tried." Katie appeared before either of them could say more. For a moment nobody spoke. "I've thought about this," Katie finally said. She admitted she was still uncomfortable, but she wouldn't stand in the way of a legitimate business opportunity. "Thank you," Dylan said, surprised. "Don't thank me yet. If you come to Logan, you earn your place. Nobody gets special treatment." It was the closest thing to approval Will was going to get from his mother, and he knew it. Inside, Dylan pitched a new Logan line built for a younger, more artistic customer: color, individuality, confidence, fashion that told a story. Bill pressed her with hard questions. Katie challenged every assumption. Will, for once, said nothing at all. He let Dylan speak entirely for herself, and she did. By the end, Bill was convinced. Not because of who she was connected to, and not out of pity over what she'd been through at Forrester, but because she'd shown him something that was genuinely hers. "Logan will give you the opportunity," he said. Dylan closed her eyes for a moment, the relief washing over her. The news reached Forrester Creations almost immediately. Electra realized the woman she'd wanted gone from her life was about to become one of her biggest professional rivals, and that Will had made his choice not through some dramatic declaration, but simply through what he'd done. Somehow, that hurt more. When she finally confronted him, she asked the question she'd been avoiding. "Is this what you want?" He could have softened it. Instead, he told her the truth. "I want Dylan to have a chance." "And what about us?" He said nothing, and the silence answered for him. "If you're choosing her," Electra said, "then I'm done chasing you." She walked away with tears in her eyes and her head held high. For the first time, the triangle wasn't a triangle anymore. Will had made a choice, and it was going to have consequences for everyone involved. Dylan's arrival at Logan wasn't going to stay quiet for long. Forrester Creations couldn't afford to let a new competing line develop without a response, and the old Spencer-Forrester rivalry was about to reignite. This time with much more personal stakes. Dylan finally had the independence she'd been fighting for. Will would have to figure out whether he could actually separate love from business. Katie would have to keep adjusting to the fact that her son was making his own adult choices. Bill would have to decide, in time, whether Dylan was truly the asset he hoped she'd be. And Electra would have to choose between chasing revenge and building something new for herself. The most striking part of it all was that Electra had, without meaning to, built the very outcome she feared. She'd wanted Dylan gone. Instead, Dylan came back stronger. She'd wanted Will to choose. He finally had, just not for her. She'd wanted to protect her place at Forrester, and in the process, she may have helped create its next serious competitor. Dylan was never the problem. She was just waiting for someone to open a door. Now it's open. The only question left is whether Forrester Creations can survive what comes through it. Bold and the beautiful fans, buckle up, because the fallout between Logan and Forrester Creations is about to get personal, messy, and impossible to ignore. At the center of it all, Will Spencer, Melissa Dylan, and a job offer that could blow up 2 families at once. Dylan's career is on life support. It's no secret Dylan's days at Forrester Creations have been numbered. Electra Forrester has made zero effort to hide her distrust, and every run-in between the 2 women leaves Dylan more exposed than the last. Extra shifts at the bikini bar can't replace a real paycheck, and Dylan knows it. She's got the talent. What she doesn't have is someone willing to bet on her. Enter Will Spencer. After yet another blow-up at Forrester, Dylan finally cracks. I can't keep fighting everyone just to prove I deserve to be here. Well, here's exactly what she's really saying. The suspicion, the whispers, the fear that one more fight could end her career for good. His response? Maybe you're just in the wrong place. That single sentence is about to change everything. Will's bold move. Bring Dylan to Logan. Will doesn't waste time. He goes straight to Bill Spencer with an idea that's part business strategy, part something much more personal. Hire Dylan at Logan. Bill isn't fooled for a second. You're asking me to hire her because you think she belongs here, he tells his son, or because you think she belongs with you? But Bill's a businessman first. If Forrester's vulnerable, Logan needs to strike. And Dylan's outsider perspective could be exactly the fresh identity Logan's been missing. When Will tells him he just wants to give her a chance to create something, Bill's interest is officially piqued. Katie says absolutely not. If you thought Bill was the hard sell, wait until Will breaks the news to his mother. Katie doesn't even let him finish his pitch. Absolutely not, she snaps. I know exactly what this is. Katie's convinced this has nothing to do with talent and everything to do with Will's feelings clouding his judgment, and she's not wrong to worry. When she warns him that mixing romance with business could destroy both, Will drops a bombshell of his own. Maybe I'm not confused about what I want. Translation? Electra's officially in the rearview mirror, and she is not going to take that lying down. Electra unravels. Word travels fast, and Electra is livid. You're seriously trying to put her at Logan? She demands. Will won't budge. He's trying to give Dylan a future, and Electra knows deep down it's true, which only makes it worse. The real gut punch comes later, when Electra finally admits what's actually driving her. I don't want to lose you. Will's silence says it all. She's already lost. Dylan gets her shot, with strings attached. Logan agrees to give Dylan a chance to pitch. Not a guaranteed job, just an opening. She walks in nervous, portfolio clutched to her chest, and Bill grills her hard. Her answer? I don't want to replace Forrester. I want to build something that doesn't look like Forrester. That's the line that seals it. Even Katie, still bristling, gives a grudging nod. If you come to Logan, you earn your place. Nobody gets special treatment. It's not approval, but it's not a wall either. The pitch that changes everything. In the boardroom, Dylan sells a bold new Logan line built around individuality and story-driven fashion. Bill challenges her. Katie grills her. And Will, for once, says nothing at all, letting Dylan fight for herself. By the end, Bill's sold. Logan will give you the opportunity. Electra's final reckoning. When Electra confronts Will one last time, is this what you want? He doesn't sugarcoat it. I want Dylan to have a chance. Her response is as heartbreaking as it is final. If you're choosing her, then I'm done chasing you. What's next for Forrester and Logan? Dylan's arrival at Logan isn't just a career win, it's an act of war. Forrester Creations can't sit back while a former employee builds a rival brand right under their noses, and Rich Forrester is not the type to let that slide quietly. Stay tuned, B&B fans. This rivalry is just getting started.